So where do we begin?
Wow. Always begin with why.
Okay.
I don't care. I don't care if it's an article, an interview, if you're trying to help someone with anything, like, yeah, why do you want a sandwich? And they tell you, yeah, I was talking with a homeless guy one day, and yeah, I was just listening to a conversation he was having, and I said, why do you want a sandwich? He goes, because my dog's hungry. His dog was hidden right around the corner. And I'm like, fuck,
Okay.
man, let me get you some dog food. And what do you want?
Yeah,
Fuck, man.
exactly. Yeah.
You know, let's take care of Puppy the right way. So,
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So is it my why? We start with my why or your why?
any why will do. Why are we on the call? Yes, some great questions.
Yeah, I've got a few questions in no particular order that I'd love perspective, answers to, and to just chat through, really.
Cool.
And I guess the first one that springs to mind is to start with this whole concept of consciousness, which I observe is a term that people throw about the place, but nobody, when you drill down, people don't really understand it, or they get confused around it. You talked yesterday about consciousness, awareness, and attention, I think it was.
Cool. What did I say?
Well, I think you started with consciousness as the only reality.
Yep.
And then I don't really remember.
Nice. What I say today may deviate from what I said then.
Yeah, that's cool.
I've always made it a point. Can we talk a little bit about what you do? Because I'd like to expose you a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Because you're first a good fucking guy. Second, I get you and I have a common why, in that you want to help people make some changes.
Yeah, definitely. And that was born out of, I now do that. That's my primary focus. I spent 20 odd years of my life running my own business. Got to a point and couldn't get the results that I felt I was capable of getting. I built quite a successful entity, but I just wanted to get it a better outcome than I was getting. And I just couldn't seem to get past myself. And I came to a point of realizing that the issue sat with me. And so I went about searching for answers, and I did all that usual self-help journey, read every self-help book under the sun, and stacked up my intellectual mind with greater awareness of what I could and should be doing, but it didn't really support me to make a shift.
Yep.
So I exited that, and along the way I'd had some business coaching, and then I thought, well, I could maybe help other people to avoid some of the pitfalls I'd experienced. So I spent 8 years business coaching, and during that time I was continuing to try and scratch my own itch and satisfy my own curiosity for how everything really worked. And I was fascinated by human behavior. Why is it people behave as they do and not as they want to? Why do they have this gap? And that led me into various things, but also into meeting and working with Bob Proctor, and better understanding how the mind works and how it all works and the laws of the universe and all the rest of it. And the more I learn, the more curious I am, the more I understand, the more I realize how much more there is to understand, and the more I get to grips with it, the more I'm better able to help others and help myself. So I just am a curious guy, perhaps more curious about the workings of it all.
You know my love affair with curious.
Yes.
I'm in. I'll do the crass commercial on DreamDrivenDay.com.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so fucking sneaky.
I can absolutely endorse that. So
without curious, we have to become confident, and confident requires that we have something to be confident about and against. Confident always has both sides.
Yeah,
we got to be confident. Yeah, you got it, right? I can hear the energy in your voice.
I was thinking that. Yeah, we could even if we're ignorant, we're confident about. We don't know what we don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so as we explore consciousness, and I love that you mentioned laws about the universe. As far as I can tell, there is no such thing. As far as I can tell, and this is gonna blow a lot of people's fucking minds, because it's not a law about the universe that makes a difference. It's the truth about you.
Okay.
And this is where, when I have watched your videos in Dream Driven Day, and you and I are both quirky as fuck in different but complementary ways, and I knew we'd have a great dance together here. But I mention that because if you try to parrot what everyone else is saying, uh, you have to parrot it with confidence. But if you discover what's the little fucking niche that you can give and only you can give, suddenly there's no way that Rob can be a commodity or Mr. 2020 can be a commodity. I have no competition. There's nobody out there with what I do. There's tons of different people out there, but I have no competition. And and there to me lies the value, because when we shine the flashlight in a different place, again, your clients are going to want things to get better. I suspect in 20 years of business, you discovered you just wanted things to be different. You can always make more money. You can always build a different system, hire a different manager, but different, man, different. That's what we crave, and that's where we've got to begin. So if consciousness is the only reality, and as far as I can tell it is, that means that there is no universe out there to have laws about, but there is a truth about the consciousness you are that sets you free. And that's the whole thing, because awareness of being is, Neville Goddard said awareness of being is God. I say awareness of being is you. And how you are aware of being determines everything. Your circumstance, you being aware of curiosity and what we were covering in the course, and of potential, and of dancing versus being at war, via the wordgamedance.com stuff. Suddenly you and I are on a call together. And it's all because of, first, you're conscious. Awareness of being is God, but what you let get into your attention, the little cool little thorns you let get in. Oh my God, here we are. This is where we get to play, and thorns are a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. And playing's a good thing, isn't it? And if I look back over my life, it's it's not something I've done a great deal of, or I've not done enough of. I've been too busy trying to work it out, but in a work sense rather than in a play sense. So Dream Driven Day has been so good to be able to just relax and play with it and indulge my curiosity. So
I'm infinitely curious about the ripples.
Yeah, for sure. And they sprawl everywhere, don't they?
I love positive sprawl. I don't got a better word for it. God, listen to those birds. Fudge.
Are you outside?
Oh my God, yes. I wouldn't do this inside.
Okay. Yeah, it's nice with the birds in the background. I'm in Scotland, so it's dark and it's raining.
So there are no birds. I'm in the dungeon.
Yeah. Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. What's our next letter in the alphabet soup?
So Neville talks about the end result. So he talks about, is this okay just to, I didn't know what you meant by alphabet soup really, but
I don't either. If I ask what the next question is, I'm not honoring you. You get it? What's the next question on your list? Fuck, I don't need you anymore. Just send me the list and I'll talk. But if we use an angle of metaphor, because God, it's all metaphoric. Suddenly you and I get to show up. I don't know what the fuck the question means, but I'll run with it. So you and I get to dance again.
Yeah, cool. I love that. So what is my question then? So Neville talks about imagining a scene that implies the wish fulfilled.
Yep.
And I'm curious about the size of the scene. Is the scene a single scene that implies the wish, that a single
Oh
wish
my
has been
God.
fulfilled? Is it
Yeah.
a broader vision of your whole, the bigger pie? How narrow, how wide do you go? How deep do you go?
I,
Yeah.
I'll talk about the mistake I see all the time. People want to make a 30-minute scene. It's like a movie script. And they
Okay.
want
Yeah.
to include everything. Well,
Yep.
I've got the car, but I want to make sure that I'm not making payments on it. And I got the attractive woman in the car with me, but I want to make sure that she's my wife, not my neighbor. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's endless torture that way. Versus all the time I'm using the phrase now. I'm curious what I'll be doing in 3 years, but my phrase now is I imagine Victoria's yum
Yeah.
and how that makes me feel. So
Okay.
there's always three elements in a scene, from what I can tell. There's something external, actually hearing or seeing Victoria's yum, how I feel on the inside about it, and the knowing that that is real. Now,
Okay.
what's cool about that? So I'll take it to my car. When I manifested up my BMW, I got it within like 5 days for less than what I paid for the price of my Chevy S10 pickup truck.
Okay.
And all I experienced was the feeling that I get when I drive on what I call Tickle Belly Hill. You can imagine what the feeling is, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So there's the feeling of being in a BMW, Tickle Belly Hill, my dog in the back seat. We only had Emmett back then, because I wouldn't be driving somebody else's BMW with Emmett in the back seat on
Okay.
Tickle Belly Hill. So it's just that little. So here's my scene. Ready?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fucking fun, right? Just whoa, there we are. We hit the bottom, and then we start going back up Tickle Belly Hill.
And is that a feel it real session in itself? Is that
That's it. That's it. Yep.
That's a 3 second feel it, because you can take yourself there. It doesn't need to be 15 minutes or half an
Now,
hour. It can be.
now I may enjoy Tickle Belly Hill is 5 minutes from my house. I may enjoy just for 5 or 10 minutes the feeling of, wasn't that fun, Emmett? That was fun. I can just rest in that feeling of Tickle Belly Hill.
Yep.
So I had the experience. This is part of what DDD in this incarnation was about when we explored the happy chemicals. Yeah, how to bring the tones of reality into not just your imaginal act, but your life. Because if you're playing with these happy chemicals in your quote unquote physical life, before you can do that, you've got to imagine up what generates those motherfuckers. So that versus I'm imagining the black BMW with the black leather seats. It's got a 5-speed transmission. Fuck. Yeah, I'm just experiencing Tickle Belly Hill at 10 to 15 miles over the speed limit. And in Australia, I'm checking my mirrors because our speeding fines here are atrocious, right?
Okay. Yeah.
They really are. And so it's like, right. So I've got the endorphin. I've got the fellowship of me and my puppy. I'm in a goddamn BMW, for fuck's sake. I've got some status, and I don't mean that I've got a better car than someone. That's the negative side of status, let's say. But I'm in a car that I like. This is my chosen car. I've given myself enough status that I'd buy a car that I enjoy.
Yes. Yeah.
This again, all of these have internal, external components. External statuses, when I lived in southwestern Pennsylvania, I all the time was buying BMWs for the price of used Chevys. And for example, I got a $4,000 one for $1,500 because the guy couldn't figure out a lighting issue. All I had to do, I bought it, took it home, went on Google, and Google said, if you're 325, 318, whatever it was, has a aftermarket radio and it's wired into the wiring harness, it screws with the lights on the left-hand side of the car. And so I went out, I looked, it had an aftermarket radio, I pulled it out and clipped the hot wire with a pair of wire snippers. Instantly the car is fixed. So I just gave myself a $4,000 car for $1,500. Right?
Okay.
Ran like a dream.
And was that because that was part of what you'd imagined, that you picked up a 4,000 BMW for?
Yeah, Absolutely. So I always buy shit. I love flying for half or a third of what it should cost. I'm just, uh, yeah, for me, it's the game because as a kid, that was a war. And here's another one. Yeah, and I say kid as in 18 to 22. I was poor. I grew up on welfare, put myself through the police academy and all that other bullshit. And I'm working as a cop for three different departments part time. Can't afford decent food. I'm buying the largest pizza I can at Fox's Pizza Den in West Newton because they gave it to us as half price because we were cops. You know, we look out for them, they look out for us, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But when I didn't work down there for like 2 3 days in a row, I didn't have any leftovers, and so I'm looking, I'm scouring the stores for half price meat and anything I can get, so I can survive. Now, it's fun making really good money and making my game. You know what we're going to have today? Pork belly. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get it at half off. How am I going to do that? I slow down for 2 steps walking into Woolies the other day, and I just feel and hear. I hear Victoria's yum. I feel what I would feel if it were true. Yes. And I go back and there it is. There's my pork belly. It shouldn't be there. Yum. Give it to me. I'll take it all.
Nice. And
Nice.
what would you say, 20, to people that have that aren't accustomed to feeling the way they want to feel? You know, in terms of getting out that cortisol cycle into experiencing the happy chemicals. Is that a process rather than an event? Can you take yourself there? You know, if you've been in a space of being, you know, addicted to unhappy hormones, can you take yourself there in a few minutes, or is it
Yes. So when I came to Australia and I'm training the Forex traders, the problem with Forex trading is you can lose a lot of money or make a lot of money pretty fast.
Yep.
And if you take a dodgy trade and you get a cortisol dump, now you got a problem because you're trading under the impact of cortisol.
Yep.
And so what I told him to do is step up, walk away from the cookie jar, go outside and skip, because skipping resets things. Now, to get really clear, the physical skipping is important, but before you can physically skip, you have to imaginally skip.
Yep.
And so I got to cough 1 second. All right. So
Could you imagine before you cough?
I imagine hitting the button. So before you can physically skip, you have to imaginally skip, right?
Yep.
And so I told him skip, right? So I'm just tricking him into imagining something different. I don't want him to sit there and stare at the screen and go, I am a great trader. I am a master trader. I just make 5,000 pips a night. Fuck that, man. Just get up and skip, then sit down and, imagine having had nailed a couple goody trades, right?
Yep.
But here's the thing. There's some fascinating research done by this guy named Tom Myers, and listening to Tom is like listening to a robot, right? He's a fascinating, freaky guy, but he dove deep into the fascia system. And so I bought one of Tom's 6 video course training things, right? So I get this, and because I just can't get it out of my head. I have no idea why I've become totally obsessed with this stuff called fascia. Do you know what fascia is?
Oh, yeah, which is the sleeve that the muscle goes around the muscle. Is that right?
It goes around everything. Fascia goes around the muscles so they can glide. It goes around every muscle fiber. It goes around every cell. It's everywhere in the body. It's the one sheet that's woven into everything. It's sort of like a tapestry, right? So I'm watching Tom's, I think, second video one day here, and I almost shit myself because Tom brings out, he basically talks and he shows a little chart and he says, and this is where I get this bit from, muscles have to do with the mind. Because you can hold up your hand and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can point up a thumbs up for yes, a thumbs down for no. That's all muscles, right?
Yep.
Then he talks about emotion. So muscles are mind. He goes, emotions are cardiovascular, right? So you can watch when I love making people blush because we live in a world that's almost emotionally dead as far as I'm concerned, or it's very emotionally predictable. And if I can get someone to blush, Oh, baby. I just, yeah, yeah, you get it. We just did it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, right? Rob's more alive now, right? Imagine having congratulatory conversations or imaginal acts that include stuff like blushing. You get that Victoria's yum. You get it? That's emotional. That's a change in her cardiovascular system. That's emotions. And
Yes.
but
And
here's the kicker.
that's the origin of the word, isn't it? As well, isn't it? Movare, to move. It's all about movement and emotion.
Yes.
I think.
Yep.
Sorry,
Yep.
I
You're
cut you up
good.
there.
No. Never apologize to me. So ready for the really thing that'll cook your noodle?
Yeah.
The third thing Tom said was fascia is at the level of belief.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, holy fuck, he's right. And fascia is what prevents us from either being stiff as a board, because without fascia, nothing could glide in there, right? Nothing would move. So fascia is like the ultimate lubricant. Also, without fascia would be a puddle. All your cells would just puddle fucking down. Gravity would pull all of you down into your feet, right? You'd be a puddle and you'd burst without fascia, right?
Okay.
And so when he talks about fascia and belief, and what's belief? Belief is nothing more than how you believe the world to be, how you believe you to be. Belief at its core is nothing more than your state. I believe you and I will have had a wonderful time. There's my imaginal act before our call, and it'll bless billions, right?
Yeah.
And that affects my fascia.
Okay.
Right? Fascia is electrical. Fascia is lubrication. Fascia is the network that holds it all together and yet lets it all move and seemingly independently. And when you add that in, ready for the noodle to be cooked?
Yeah, just
this
about.
is why things like skipping to me are vital. Skipping allows you to experience the bounce that the fascia system has. If you watch the puppy run, we're going to cover this in the State of Bruce call that we do in a couple days. If you watch the puppy run, or more accurately, let's say trot, when a dog trots, most of his muscular work is isometric. In other words, he just positions the body in a particular configuration, holds it there, and adds in a little bit of work. And the fascia makes all the bouncy shit happen.
Got it.
Little kids bounce and have endless energy because they are very fascia oriented. They're exploring, what do they believe? Never, never land, fairy tales. What do I want to be when I grow up? Adults, we all go muscle. We get stuck in the head. It's all muscle and mind. And then we have very predictable emotions, maybe two. Most people only have 2 or 3 emotions a day for the most part.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
You know this.
Yeah, I do.
You live in one of the Queen's empires. I live in another one, and I look around and it's like, fuck, man. Like at least Americans have anger. I mean,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, we just have suppression going on.
Exactly. I mean, like, what's the dominant emotion? Suppression, right?
Yeah.
Fudge, man.
Or whatever it is, just suppress it, man. We're British. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So with all that in the mix, your turn. Grab the stick.
Wow.
Wow.
I am having fun. I'm just going to keep asking questions.
Let's do it.
Tell me. Well, before I've got another question here in front of me, but I'm curious about the addiction to emotion. We talked about most people only have 1 or 2 emotions, but I observe that people create scenarios through their consciousness or through their awareness. They go unconsciously finding things to support the addiction. Does that make sense? People look at, they don't see life through their eyes, they see it through their beliefs, and often those beliefs just exist to feed the addiction.
So you asked about cortisol in the last question. The key to kicking cortisol is discovering you aren't your body. Because if you believe you're your body, or if you behave as if your body, studies show it takes 3 years to get over cortisol. So you find out
if you believe you are your body.
Yep.
Okay.
You talk to someone who doesn't get consciousness is the only reality, and they think that their body is and what it experienced. If their husband or wife cheats on them, it takes them 3 years to get over it.
Okay.
If they experience a tragic loss, the puppy dies, 3 years later, they're probably getting another dog. Or even if they got another dog sooner, they're still grieving the first one for 3 years. It's a fascinating thing. But if you get the consciousness is the only reality, then you start bouncing back faster. You get it? Skipping is
Yeah.
bouncing. You bounce
Okay.
back faster because you get what you are. The addiction is the same thing. Yeah, I love this. Uh, Everyone's obsessed with phrases like what fires together, wires together.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I'll sort of agree with that, but it's just been used to the point where it's bullshit. Uh,
Yeah.
what's addiction? Addiction. Uh, I hope it's okay with you because I imagine, like right now, I imagine you and me
Everything's
doing
okay with me.
what everything's okay. When Timmy was here from the group, uh, Timmy was sitting right next to me where the computer is, right?
Yep.
And we're having these kinds of chats while he's here. I'm already imagining you in the garden. And when you're here, you'll notice, and you got a dog, but I'm willing to bet that Emmett has more gates than your dog because I haven't classified all of Emmett's gates yet. He's got, yeah, it's like he creates new ones every day to fuck with me.
Okay.
And it's like, and a gate is nothing more than we configure the body in a particular shape so that we can move at a particular speed.
Yep.
And so Emmett will create a gate that it's got so much bounce, so much twist, and it'll keep him moving at a particular speed with the least amount of effort. So
Yeah.
so most of the muscle work is isometric. A little bit of it is actually in putting a little bit of motion into the system. This is if you watch a really good baseball player, pitcher. They're
Yep.
great. They're elegant. If you watch me throw a baseball, it's not right. It's horrible. but it's that. And the thing is, and this is another one that I've just recently codified, that instead of so this is where people begin, and this is all right. Instead of imagining bad, Rob,
Yeah.
imagine good. But
Yep.
I've been imagining so many bad things for so long. It's easy to imagine bad. It's hard to imagine good. Okay, we
Yep.
just set up another artificial war. Now, if we want to create a game,
Because
okay,
we
remember
tell ourselves that story, or because we believe it.
and we're used to just I'm making burned cookies. Tomorrow I'm going to make unburned cookies. It's
Okay. Yep.
versus tomorrow I'm making bread. The day after I'm making spaghetti out of raw ingredients. The day after I'll make a pizza. If we're stretching, uh, again, I watch the dogs. I stretch a lot, but the
Yes.
dogs got me beat every single time. I walk in the house, they walk toward the door, they identify it's me, they stop and they do a down dog, they do an up dog, and then they come over. I didn't bother doing that. so,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I decided I'll start doing that. So as soon as they walk towards me and they stop to do their stretch, I do a down dog and an up dog in my spine, just articulating it in different directions. And you know what? I feel better at the end of the day. I see
Yeah.
Victoria, a little stretch, but it's not just the body stretching. How do we stretch what we're imagining? And it doesn't mean just imagine bigger. It's imagine maybe a different element, add in a different happy chemical. It's that, it's so easy to watch someone addicted to oxytocin.
Yep.
Because what works easiest for them is a congratulatory conversation, an actual hug, the sit and the cuddle.
Yes.
On the other hand, every now and then, it's really useful since they've mastered that tool. That becomes their addiction. It's sort of like I used to love Smith and Wesson. I think it was the L-frame revolver series. It was my first gun. I got so damn good at it. I owned 4 of them over the 30 years I carried a weapon.
Okay.
I just loved them. They were great. And if you gave me one today, I know that weapon inside and out. I can just feel it. I could probably pop caps into a quarter at 10 feet. But
Okay.
but I'm good at that. But what else do I want to get good at? What else do I want to explore? Because it's like having the same delicious meal every day. It gets old. So if,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
if we so if we stretch with our imaginal wax, uh,
yes.
to me that always has us putting another new fun bun in the oven. Like
Yeah,
when I talk about Victoria's Yum, and I discover, oh, I could call this the two-step method because it took me 2 steps walking into Kohl's. That was
yeah.
fun. What if we taught people how to get into the state of kind sleep was while you're walking, just sort of slow your gait down for 2 steps or three. And that sort of takes you into that drowsy state. And you experience the yum and the internal experience and the knowingness. And you get that fast. Oh my God. How many
And
ways can you stretch a day then?
yeah, yeah, because we go to our defaults, don't we? Back to the
Totally.
addiction thing. Yeah, we think, oh, I'll just do a feel it real for oxytocin or for one of the happy
Totally.
chemicals. Yeah,
Yep.
we
Yep.
need to. So yeah, I hear you on that. And I'm guilty of that myself. I have my defaults in terms of what's easy or what I can use to shift my state fastest. Okay.
I used to, I had a motorbike. It was a Honda CB 900C. It was a limited production thing you do. And I called it my attitude machine.
Okay.
And you can guess why.
Yeah.
If I was feeling small, I could get on that sucker and the knees are in the breeze. And then at some point the motorcycle died and I sold it. And I had a choice either to be a motorbike addict or discover how else can I build these different happy chemicals in. Which one was lacking? I was always a solo rider.
Okay.
Ah, cool. Yeah, now how can I build fellowship in? I'm pretty good at fellowship now.
Yeah. Is that? Did you not used to be?
There were times where I've gotten real isolationist.
Yeah,
And of course,
and I guess that feeds a chemical as well, doesn't it?
totally.
Yeah.
I'm the guy on the hill.
On
There's some
your own.
status. Yeah, there's some status there, even if nobody knows I'm on the hill.
Okay.
There's some status there.
Yeah.
Everybody else needs to take all sorts of shit in the woods in order to camp. I walk in with a knife.
Right.
I'm in good shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about buns in the oven. Multiple buns in the oven. Talk about buns in the oven and how you manage multiple buns in the oven in your imagination. Because that's presumably multiple feel it real sessions then for different things. Whether it's the BMW on Ticklebelly Hill or something else.
So we'll define sessions 2 ways. I do formal sessions in the morning, at nap time, and at night. So I'm investing that state of sleep as I wake up. Today it's like, ooh, Rob and I kicked ass. Next, ooh, great Philly Roll Fun show. That kicked ass. Just, oh, the pool. Yeah, that kicked ass. And I explore different ones. Like, so in different ways with the different pillars, happy chemicals, all that good stuff. But
As you go through your day.
yeah, basically before I get out of bed, I've already nailed half a dozen events for the day.
Okay.
So boom, boom, boom. The other side is pretty cool because, well, let me just finish that. So my other 2 formal sessions at nighttime, I'm revising some stuff from the day, turn some bad into good, good into great, like we did in Revision to the Max. And my midday session is whatever's on my mind. Could be a homeless guy that I passed in the street. Could be you. Yeah, could be a business thing. So whatever it is, could be, since like right now it's Victoria in the garden season. So as I'm falling asleep for my afternoon nap, maybe I'm imagining her having crushed it and talking to me as I wake up way too fast. Just be 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So those are the formal sessions, and again, those don't take long. But I'm just investing a little bit. I nail something, relax a little bit. Maybe I nail something else, relax a little bit, and I'll fall asleep and just knowing that I just nailed some things. On the other side, uh, so multiple buns, yeah, every morning, multiple cleanup buns every night. Something while I'm falling asleep, something while I'm waking up at my afternoon nap. So that's an easy part of the formula. Another side is that whole thing of I'm walking into the shops and I see a friend of mine look stressed. And I just go, ooh, right. Slow down for a step or two. And just imagine him looking perky. How would I feel if Dean looked perky? Done.
Right.
right? And as soon as I nail that, cool. And I'm walking up to Cole's, right? Where's Victoria's Yum today? What's my desire? Pork belly, right? And
Okay.
so on.
And what if you're working on a big project that's, you know, that are you still taking it in daytime chunks? You're doing your feel it reels for today, for the piece of work
Great.
that's ahead of you, or are you doing it for the end result? I'm curious about bridges to end results, and feeling it real for a bridge rather than an end result. That makes sense.
So, so I'll be posting up some, probably on Jen's post today. I'll be posting up some videos of some old Chinese guys doing weird shit. I just love internal kung fu. I used to actually think I was good at it. And then
Okay.
I discovered that all my power was being generated from my waist instead of way, way, way deep by those subtle muscles that are all inside the sacrum. And it's like, all right. So I dismantled my old way of moving I've been doing that for about 5 years, and I'm exploring getting both hips fully functional, which has taken me on this really cool adventure of uh, just learning all sorts of things, exploring all these different muscles around and inside the sacrum area of the body. So here's why I mention all that. So the outcome is for me to basically be about 150 to 180 and doing some really cool kung fu shit that most people in their uh, 20s can't do, and almost nobody can actually understand. So,
Okay.
so I imagine being able to move like a 20-year-old when I'm close to 200, right?
Okay.
Because
Okay.
because I want to be here for a while, because I don't want to learn algebra again, right? I want to see how the garden grows. And I don't want to go learn algebra again and then find my way back here.
Hey, shit,
So it's like, right.
did you even learn algebra? Come on, be honest.
Oh, well, yeah, Tony Truitt. Yeah,
Most of us were present, but we weren't really taking it in.
yeah, I was looking at legs. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so there's my thing. So my big thing, I want to live to be about 200 or so, maybe
Okay.
longer. And it's possible, and with today's technology, and because of what I'm imagining. I happen to give myself a lifetime at the point in history where it's very, very probable that anyone who takes care of their body could live to be 200, right?
Yeah.
Just really cool. And so there's that. That's a biggie. On the micro side, God, I imagine already having had a great day at the pool.
Okay.
On the other micro side, uh, I remember when I had my left foot was diagnosed as having had a fallen arch. There was like no arch in my left foot, and uh, and so I figured at one point, like I had a left hip injury that I get to explore with this internal kung fu bit. I had a fallen arch in my left foot, and it's like, well, I imagined having a arch in my left foot, because that arch in the foot is where it's another pump for the power with this internal kung fu stuff. And it's like, I
Yep.
just don't want to have an arch in my right foot. I'd like to have an arch in both feet. So I imagine what would imply I've got an arch in both feet, right? So like I just see my tracks. And so, all right, so I go on with my life. I find myself not liking shoes with arches in them anymore, even though that's what they tell me I need to be wearing, that and orthotics. And I just go with these flat shoes, right? Zero drop shoes are what they call them, I guess.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
And so I've become obsessed with these fuckers, man. I have more shoes than Victoria, right? And so, of course, I start manifesting up these shoes at about half price or third price. I ordered a bunch from the UK called Freet. I found a 40% off coupon deal that was supposed to expire like 5 years ago. It was still working the last time I used it 2 years ago. So I'm ordering all these freaking shoes that are flat shoes with no arch support, nothing, because I'm just obsessed with them. I have no idea why. And lo and behold, one day I'm walking and I look down and I look at my prints, and my prints show that I've got arches in both feet. And it's like,
Wow.
fuck, man, that's cool. And so I
Yeah.
photograph it, right? And it's somewhere on the internet.
Yeah. I think I
But
saw it.
it's
I think I saw it.
yeah, it's so cool, because again, that's not a big win for me. That's a middle win. Because I figured, again, if I'm going to live to be 200 years old, it'd be nice if the tires were lined up on the car. It'd be
Yep.
cool for when I'm doing the Kung Fu. I bet you it would actually enhance it, because all that power comes from flexing in arches and fascia and those little micro muscles in the hip. So all those are little intermediate wins for me, which I imagine and give life to.
Yep.
But I discover them along the way, because again, you'll notice my pattern. I get top shelf steak at bottom shelf prices. I get my BMW for the price of a Chevy. Last time I flew into Australia, 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 of the legs were first or business class, and I paid for coach.
Okay.
It was just good fun, and I got the ticket for half price. Right, the tickets were like $2,000. I got it for $1,200 or something, so almost half price. But it's the coolest thing, because when I get obsessed with living to 200, and then it's like, well, this whole Kung Fu thing, that's fun, and I want that, and so that's another bit, and then it's like my feet, and then suddenly my foot has healed. Now we could blame the shoes, and I'm sure going to zero drop shoes was part of the physical bridge. But you know me, I'm not going to pay $200 for a pair of shoes when I can get them for $100.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Boom, there we go.
And so the feel it real session, or imagining the scene of your that implies your arch is fixed, so the end result. Now,
Yep.
I feel like I'm interviewing you here, so do stop me if it's.
That's cool.
So you do the feel it real, and then you just you drop it. You feel it to the point of being real. The scene that implies it's fulfilled, and then you drop it. There's no awareness of that as you go through your day. You're not trying to force it. I'm curious about the difference between allowing and forcing.
Yeah, I don't find myself thinking about it, but I do find myself going, fuck, those shoes are weird. Let me check them out. Oh my God. And do some research, and suddenly I find a coupon code. So it's not that and here's the thing. If I notice, so living from the state of loving teacher, I'm always finding things to teach and share. Yeah. And so there's a really big chunk. On a smaller chunk size, I find that it's like, once I imagined having a Bimmer, of course I see more Bimmers going up and down the road. I don't take it a sign. It's just that I'm looking at Bimmers now differently. What kind of car what kind of BMW would I like? Oh, I don't like that one. It's too angular. That one's okay. But it's a fascinating thing, because an ongoing emergent state like businessman, marketer, has me. I love learning about business. I love learning about marketing. I'm obsessed with Neil Gaiman as a writer, and I've got probably 5 of his books on my Kindle. I've got a buddy who's got some signed copies he's looking to give me. Imagine manifesting up that. I'm just having so much fun. And
what fascinates you about Neil's writing?
So Neil, I don't know, but how's that for an answer? But I fell in love with Neil before I even knew much about him. Whenever I listened to the Graveyard Book, and when he talked about,
people talk about that, the Graveyard Book. I've never read it.
Don't read it. Listen to it. And get it on Audible. It's in his voice. And when he talks about one of the characters in the book called the Sleer, you instantly know what the fuck the Sleer is like because of the way he says it. Right. And it's like, ooh, that's nice, right? And then when I do his course in Masterclass, that masterclass.com thing, one of the things he mentions is whenever he develops a character, he says some people want to know what they look like, some people want to know their history. He says something like, I want to know how they sound. Yeah. And I went, holy fuck, this guy gets it. Because Neville was really big into hearing. Eavesdrop, listen in on your friends. Are they envious? Are they happy? What are they saying? Right? When you listen to Neville, by the way, I hate when people suggest to me, or they tell me, hey, I'm listening to Out of This World. I says, wow, I didn't know Neville read that. And no, somebody else is saying it. And I tell him, don't listen to it. Listen to Neville, because when Neville talks, like when Neil says Sleer, You know what a slur is. You don't even have a fucking clue what a slur is, but you know because of the way I'm saying it, right?
Yeah.
When Neville says that consciousness is the only reality, it's not. He's not saying, and consciousness is the only reality. No, he's saying it coming from, Rob, consciousness is the only reality. Like when I say, that's him, my phrase is, what you are is God having the adventure of a lifetime. Another one of my phrases is, how you're conscious determines what's in your reality. And you can, versus if somebody says that I said that, it just doesn't have the same impact because they're not saying it from experiencing it while they're saying it. Yes. And that's what I like about Neil.
Got it. Okay. Well,
by the way, that's also what I love about your videos, because I watch this curious, quirky guy experience his curious and quirkiness live on the camera, and I just fucking love this guy. He's so there. And that's the thing where if that shows up in everything you do in your business, you can't help but make a lot of money and have a lot of impact, and you'll never be boring.
Yeah, well, that's funny because I'm conscious of, it's interesting I say I'm conscious of, but I'm conscious that I actually, I often rein that in a business.
I know. No kidding. Stop it.
Yeah. I rein it in. I think, I need to be fucking serious about this. Get this point across in a serious fashion Yeah.
Everyone's trying to do that. Don't do that.
Okay, that's good advice.
I'm not 100% into the philosophy of Napoleon Hill.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay, but I do want to tell you, there's some recordings that you can find they'll be at archive.org or on the Wayback Machine, something like that. They're rare Napoleon Hill recordings of him actually speaking.
Okay.
And he is such a delightful fucker. Oh my God, is he fun. But you won't get that reading Think and Grow Rich, and you'll never get it from Think and Grow Rich if you listen to Earl Nightingale reading Think and Grow Rich. As lovely as Earl's voice is, it's not engaging like Napoleon Hill's. And when you listen to Nappy talk, and again, I'm not 100% into his philosophy. He's got some struggle built into there, he was getting there. But when you listen to him talk, oh my God, he is a hoot.
Right. Yes, I think I've heard him on a couple of things on Spotify, I think, but the sound quality is not great.
Exactly. Yeah, the sound quality on those isn't great, but if you got some headsets on and you're in the dungeon.
In the dungeon, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So what else can we party on? What can we play with?
Wow. I think I wrote about this. Yes. But let's do it. Wins versus stuff. I could give a shit if you ever get your stuff. What I'm interested in is how many wins can you stand a day? It goes back to the whole philosophy is how much happiness can you stand? If happiness is defined as a single happy chemical, you can't stand much. But if happiness is designed if happiness is you mixing up new combinations of happy chemicals, oh my God, the amount of happiness you can stand is just amazing.
I remember having a conversation years ago with a business owner about what she wanted, and it was all these things like a house and a boat and a thing and a wall. It's back to the why conversation. Well, what's that all about? Why do you want that? She said, well, that'll make me happy. I said, what if you were just happy without those things? She said, well, what if I was only happy? That wouldn't be any good. So big keep is all back to front.
So day 29, DreamDrivenDay, we just did it yesterday, and the state of Bruce. When I throw the ball, Bruce wants one thing, and you know what it is?
What?
To be the hero.
Right.
I throw the ball and he goes, yes, and he brings it back. And I throw the ball. He goes, yes. And he brings it back. I throw the ball. He goes, yes. And he doesn't bring it back. He sits there and goes, it's my fucking ball. You come get it. Really? I will fuck you up, boy. I'll go over and I'll walk toward him like a bear does. I'll just throw my left hand side, my right hand side, my left, and then his tail wags. Oh, Dad's gonna come get me, and then we play chase. But he just wants to be the hero, and that's all any of us want. Being what gives life to everything. All we want to do is really be the hero
in our own movie.
And oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
And when you help people be the hero in their own life, it's never the house, it's never the car. As the hero, I can enjoy the car. Yeah, being the hero might be just me poking it when I go around the roundabout today, right? Being the hero might be keeping it alive for 30 years. I like this car. It's not a classic BMW, but it's a treasure to me.
It might be. It might become one.
It will become one, yes.
Yeah.
But it's like I just how can you be a hero now? Bruce finds it in the ball. Emmett does it by sitting on my lap and trying to prevent Bruce from playing. See, Bruce?
Yes.
I'm blocking you.
And it's not, if I'm understanding you right, it's not a hero in an egotistical look at me kind of way.
Nah.
Because it's that confused about that, wouldn't it?
That can be there. You know, if you have your friends congratulate you, but it's not like, look at me, right? Yeah. I am imagining good for all my friends too. No. Yeah, that's fun, but it really is. It's about the win. You know, when you teach yourself a new yo-yo trick, oh my God, how cool is that? When we did Dream Driven Day last time, and the yo-yo lesson came out, I think it was like that day or 2 days after, Victoria and I were in the city, and we came across a collection of old Coca-Cola yo-yos. These things were like priceless. I should have bought one. I don't know why I don't sometimes. But like, what are the odds of us coming across a collection of old Coca-Cola yo-yos?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, it's 100% because that's what I do. But it's like fudge, man. But it's just how many wins can you stand?
Yeah.
Little ones, big ones, fun ones, serious ones. Oh my God, we just came here to have wins.
Yeah.
But there's no win. Yeah. But there's no win without a risk. When Bruce misses the ball, then you can watch him go, fuck, go. Right? You've got a dog.
Yes.
You know this.
I do, yeah.
They're just as excited with a near miss. And then they finally get it. Yeah, Dad, I did it. Cool. Let's do it again.
Can we dig into that? There's no win without a risk.
Yep.
Because, I'd love to dig into that because I observe that so many people are trying to go through life getting wins without the risk.
Yep. I love the mantra, people. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. Well, guess what? Some days, I got rear-ended the other day. I was in Victoria's car and this van fucking hits me.
Thank God you're in her car, right?
Thank God I'm in her car, right? And I pulled over and everything was fine. I got a little bit of a sore neck, but yeah, I got all that taken care of. But I made a friend, right?
Okay, yep.
But if I went and every day and every way, everything's getting better and better. There are no exceptions. Every day I make $10,000 in my business. The day I make $9,000 and get rear-ended, it's all over, right? Yeah. It's suckfest. But yeah, there's this thrill. There's this dopamine of fuck. I almost got the ball. Let me get it. Hey, Dad, serotonin time. Cool, Bruce. Good boy. Yeah. There's the fun thing. I love the whole thing with this whole new age thing fascinates me because it's like you cannot manifest when you were in a negative emotion. It's like, really? Wow. What about Hitler? Right? He did pretty well being an asshole. So, well, he didn't manifest good. Well, but he got like all sorts of nice cigars and shit. And I'll just play devil's advocate because it's like, what does Neville say? Good, bad, indifferent. You can use this for good, for bad, or indifferent. You can have an all rice day or life. You can have a burned rice life, or you can have a rice with spice life. And some days you're gonna burn the rice. Yeah, you'll put it on, you'll walk outside, Bruce will want to play ball, you get all hooked on that. Next thing you know, that smells interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I guess we're
And
eating out for lunch.
and I guess it's always on, isn't it? We're creating all the time.
Oh my God.
Is that the trick? Is to be conscious of where we're of what we're creating.
I think that's the thing. So did you catch the reference to Dr. Watson in one of the recent lessons?
Oh, I missed that.
Nobody fucking caught that one. So Dr. Watson is that thing on, do you have Windows computers?
In the UK, or do I?
Do you?
In my dungeon, I've got Mac.
Yes, baby. I know you and I get along just fine. So
Yeah.
the people that have Windows computers, and I'm sure there's something the same on a Mac, but on a Windows computer, they have called what's Dr. Watson.
Okay.
And if you're just sitting there listening to Spotify and you're on your, I don't even know what the processors are called anymore, but you're on a super duper computer, it needs to be doing something.
Right.
And so Dr. Watson just has it do dumb shit, right? Just dumb shit,
Okay.
dumb shit, dumb shit, dumb shit, dumb shit. And then you fire up a spreadsheet while you're listening to Spotify and it still works, but Dr. Watson has less space on your activities going on, right?
Okay.
So if Spotify takes up 1%, Dr. Watson takes up 99. If Spotify and your spreadsheet take up 11%, Dr. Watson takes up whatever 100 minus 11 is. 89. So I'm not good with this shit. I tell people anyone can make money online. Look at me. Right? So that's Dr. Watson. And the thing is, Dr. Watson is like the bullshit part of your brain that manifests up bullshit. Because when I walk down the street and I see the little old lady hobbling, I imagine her strutting.
Okay.
Whether or not she ever struts again, I don't know. But I can tell you this much, man. I was in the shops one day, and I got to go in 2 minutes. And this old guy was having a stroke. And thank God that there was some lady there that was trained, because she's doing first aid. There were 2 Girl Scouts there that were helping out as well. And I just stood there and looked in the guy's eyes. And he looks at me and I look at him, and I'm just imagining, yep, I'll see you here next week, looking good, right? And it was like 2 weeks later, he's in the place and he's looking good. You know, it turned out that his stroke was apparently pretty damn minor, and he didn't die, right? Which is cool. But here's the thing. A lot of people would go, yep, I'll imagine loving for that guy later because I've got shit on my mind.
Yeah. I've got to get the half-price meat.
I already nailed that, right? But people will go around and they'll miss opportunities to imagine lovingly for seeming others, and while they worry, it's like, fuck, man. How can I imagine lovingly for you? How can I imagine lovingly for you? Oh, that looks like fun. I imagined up a new scotch. It's a peaty scotch. It's only $60 a bottle. My favorite scotches are like $100 a bottle here. And so, wouldn't you know, I imagined up a new scotch that's fairly peaty at $60 a bottle, and I like it. It's like, that works for me. And the funny thing is, the store manager says, I don't know why this is here. Like, this doesn't make any sense why they'd send this to us. And I said, well, keep it. It's good. And so,
you know why it's there.
I may be the only person that buys it, but I like it, and it's $60 versus $100. That's $40 in my pocket.
Yeah, nice.
Sweet,
nice.
But there's the game. There's nonstop games to be played.
Yeah.
So I got to drag my dogs to the dog park. How do we close it up in a minute or two?
Ooh. Let's leave it open. How's that?
Let's do it again. How's that?
Yeah. Let's leave it open for more. I've loved it.
Okay. Let's call this part 1.
Yeah, part 1. We'll do. Yeah. Let's see what feedback you get and what questions get asked, and let's have another riff another time.
Cool. And you're, with everything we covered, you're cool with me putting it out into the world and having us make an impact on all that shit?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a website?
robertbegg.com. I'm in the process of revamping it. It doesn't really give a flavor, but it's out there. People can connect with me on Facebook or wherever.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Cool. I would suggest anyone listening do that. And everybody here probably knows how to find me. So, but I'll just say,
Yeah, and do that too. Do that too. And if you've been thinking about Dream Driven Day or manifesting mastery, is it?
yep.
Stop thinking about it and just do it.
Cool.
Change your
Rob,
fucking
this
life.
has been an absolute fucking pleasure.